that there's a lot of math and geometry and physics involved in making a xylophone, very little of which I'm going to concern myself with in this video. Mostly you just want to listen to different types of wood. Rosewood is a good choice. This is paduk, which is also a very dense, hard wood, and it also makes a good ringing sound. Another factor to consider is where the keys are going to lie on their supports. For instance, right about here, I get a pretty good ringing sound, but if I attached it up here, it's more of a thud. I'm making the size of my xylophone based upon this one piece of wood. I printed up a full-size diagram so I could get an idea of how big it would be with 13 keys. The longest key is 8 inches and the shortest is 5. I'll start by ripping them into 1.5 inch wide strips. To tune these, I'm gonna start kind of a baseline using the longest key. This will be the lowest note. To lower the notes, all I need to do is remove some of the wood from the backside. First, I want to establish the points where it's going to attach to the frame. Right about there sounds about the right spot. And I'm just going to mark that with some chalk. So I'm going to try to cut away some of the wood that's in between those two marks. If I use a softer mallet, it'll even give it a richer sound. I'm just trying to tune these by ear. If I need to lower the note of one of the keys, I sand a little bit off using my spindle sander. If the keys need to be at a higher pitch, I would have to make the keys a little bit shorter. And I'm trying to avoid doing that because I've already cut those to size. You can download free tuner apps for your phone. I tried using this and I just wasn't having good luck with it. And I don't really need these to be exactly on perfect pitch. So I'm just doing them by ear. This one I just really screwed up on. I must have cut this part out too deep because it's actually a lower tone than this longer one. So it would just be horribly out of place. So going with 12. Well, okay then. You know what all this is? This is about 5 hours of work trying to figure out how to make these keys sound good. I spent a lot of time on the internet researching this and figuring out different ways to attach these keys, and I tried a lot of those and it just wasn't working. First of all, I drilled 2 holes in this key and left it loose enough for a screw because I knew this had to move a little bit. And with it screwed down tightly like that, it really doesn't make any sound at all, even when I kind of enclose this and make a little case out of it. So I knew there had to be some movement in this, so I just loosened these screws to see what this would sound like. If anything, it kind of rattles a little bit. So my next step was to put something soft to cushion it. I picked up some of these little felt circles. These are used for chair legs so they don't scratch floors. That's the tone it needs to have. So I went back to my screws and put a hole in each of these felt pieces. Back to where I was. It's not doing anything. Try loosening it up. Nothing. And I decided to try it by cutting just a couple of dowels and put them through the felt pieces. This time it'll just slide down on there, so there's plenty of movement. A little bit better, but still not resonating the way it should. What if I just use one of these pieces? So I pulled this one out and just used the felt part. Sounding a little bit better, but it's still rattling on this end. Next thing I did was I got some Velcro, and I'll stick the Velcro on here, and I'll stick a piece on here. That's pretty good. I'm gonna try it with Velcro on both sides. Not as good as when I just have Velcro on one side and the felt on the other. So I think the solution is to Velcro one side, leave the other side free to bounce, and put some dividers between this. One suggestion somebody had on my Mere Minutes channel was to use this flexible air tubing and just put it down on one side and let that be the cushion. I haven't tried that because, well, the Velcro's working. I'm gonna try the Velcro and felt deal and get on with my life. But if anybody has any other great ideas and maybe you've done one of these before, feel free to post it down in the comments and maybe it'll help out somebody else who wants to give this a shot. To make the sides for the box, I'm cutting 4-degree bevels on the ends of these strips. I'm drilling holes along the top of this for the dividers. I'm sliding a dowel into this plastic tubing and I hope these will act as bumpers. And drop these into those holes. I'll finish this with a little spray lacquer. Well, maybe that wasn't the most elegant solution, but it seems to be working out. It would also be helpful to have 2 mallets. I made these a few years ago for a slit drum. It's just a cheap rubber ball with a dowel in it. I just can't find the other one. I want to take a moment to thank Audible.com for sponsoring this show and helping to keep Woodworking for Mere Mortals free. Well, have you picked up your free audiobook yet? Last time I did one of these spots, I was talking about In the Plex, the book all about Google. No matter what you think about Google, it's a fascinating read, especially just learning about the 2 founders of the company and how kind of idealistic they were to start the company, and they've tried to maintain that throughout the entire growth of this massive corporation. It's a very inspiring book, and it confirms my belief that content on the internet should be free to users. It would really be unfortunate if we had to pay for every single website we went to. I'm almost done listening to it. It's a pretty long book, but I downloaded my next book, a little bit lighter, Hunger Games. Yeah, I know. I really like the movies, and now I want to read the book. I'm totally hooked on Audible.com. I listen to it in the shop while I'm working, and I can catch up on all these books that I've been wanting to read, and I just haven't had time. Don't forget to pick up your free book at audible.com/woodworking, and it really helps to support Woodworking for Mere Mortals. Like a boss! Measuring twice is so overrated. That's just one of the new shirts we've added to the Wood Shop Bay. It's the only t-shirt shop just for woodworkers. Shop Bay. Make sure you check in often at woodworkingformeremortals.spreadshirt.com. And as always, thank you for watching Woodworking for Mere Mortals. If you're new to the show, please subscribe. I have new woodworking videos every Friday. I'll see you next week.